In spite of another Serie A win, Season 2 didn't go exactly according to plan, and now my job is hanging by a thread. And to make matters worse, Charles de Ketelaere, last year's top goalscorer and AC Milan's boy wonder, is under more transfer offers. Last season I turned down a £160 million offer from Chelsea with the promise that if he continued his fine form, I'd allow him to leave this summer. And with 34 goals in 38 league appearances, he lived up to his end of the bargain last season, which means, in an effort to keep this career mode realistic and for me to live up to my end of the bargain, I've decided to accept a whopping £202 million offer from West Ham United. No doubt de Ketelaere will be desperate to play in the Premier League in real life, and I doubt AC Milan could do much to stop him if a bid of over 200 million came knocking at their door. West Ham weren't exactly the team I thought he would end up playing for this season, but that bid was just too much to turn down, so reluctantly he will leave the club and will kick off Season 3 on the hunt for a new striker. Now, with AC Milan being one of the biggest clubs in Italy, I think it's only right that we look at bringing in an Italian striker to lead the line for us, and with me wanting to stick to the theme of poaching players from other Italian clubs, that has left me with two main options to choose from: Nicolo Zaniolo of Roma or Giacomo Raspadori of Napoli. And after some back and forth negotiation, I've decided to go with Giacomo Raspadori. At 5'8", the now 24-year-old is a slight departure from our norm of having 6-foot+ strikers lead the line, but with 17 international caps to his name, he's quick, agile, has a low centre of gravity, offers versatility to play up front on his own or just behind the striker. According to many, he's the future of Italy's attack, and I think he'll link up brilliantly with Rafael Leao and Kingsley Coman to form a formidable partnership for the rest of this career mode. However, with one major transfer in, it's another one out, and it's the same issue we face with de Ketelaere. Mignon was subject of big bids last year and we managed to keep hold of him, but this season I think it's just a step too far. And when Moneybags Newcastle United come in for you with an offer of just under 100 million and the opportunity to play in the Premier League, it's understandable that his head would be turned, and in real life Milan would struggle to keep hold of him as well. So with the aim of continuing to keep this career mode as realistic as possible, we have to bid another farewell to one of our star players, as Mignon says goodbye to the Milan faithful and hello to a new life in England. Now, I made the point last year of promoting our academy goalkeeper Lorenzo Colombo to a backup in the senior team. We also have another youth goalkeeper that I'm going to promote as well. Now, I'm going to look to make a bold decision here, and I've decided I'm not actually going to bring in a replacement for Mignon. Instead, I'm going to let these two youth academy prospects battle it out for the #1 spot this season. It's a huge risk because stepping down from a 90 rated world-class goalkeeper in Mignon to one of two 60+ rated teenagers with potential might seem like a crazy decision, but this is the chance to finally bring someone properly through our youth academy. It's the chance to create our own world-class goalkeeper and the chance to create a potential AC Milan homegrown superstar, which is too good of an opportunity to turn down. Now, I was planning on bringing in a cam this season due to Daniel Maldini not hitting the heights I expected of him last year, and due to not fully replacing Brahim Diaz at the end of Season 1. However, 23-year-old Yassin Adli has had a fine campaign last season, stepping up when required, and ended up being one of our main contributors when it came to goals and assists last year. At only 79 rated, there are certainly better players out there on the market, but I'm going to give him and Daniel Maldini one more year to continue their development, see how they perform this year, and then I'll make a call at the end of the season as to whether we need to upgrade in that department. Finally, Malte Schneider not really getting the game time that I hoped he would last season, and I've decided to loan out the 69 rated 19-year-old to FC Braga. I'm hoping more game time away from the club for him will equal huge growth in his development. However, with him gone, that opens up a space on the left-hand side of our attack to bring in a replacement who can hopefully compete with Rafael Leao. And once again, we are going to go back to the tried and tested approach of poaching players from other Italian teams, and once again we're returning to Napoli to try and snap up their highly coveted 23-year-old Kvaratskhelia. The man who's been nicknamed Kvaradonna by many has been starting to make a name for himself both in Serie A and the Champions League since arriving at Napoli. At now only 23 years old, 6 foot, with all-round impressive physical, mental and technical stats, I think it's only a matter of time before a Premier League team or Real Madrid or Barcelona come sniffing around for him. If we can get him in for a decent price now, help him develop his talent and see if we can have an impact on this team, who knows what the future holds for this potential superstar in waiting. And I think with both him and Rafael Leao battling it out on the left-hand side, Coman on the right and Raspadori down the middle, we could have one of the most potent attacks in Europe this season. Wilfried Singo is the next man to be subject to a transfer bid, and this time it's from Arsenal. After only one season at the club, Singo decided to put in a transfer request due to not having the amount of game time he supposedly thought he was going to get. Now, to be honest, he hardly lit up Serie A last season, only getting 1 goal and 1 assist, but I was hoping to keep him around at least for one more year. But with his head turned and an offer of over 43 million from Arsenal, we say goodbye away to a player who didn't really feature for us much last season, and one that we make a tidy £17 million profit on in just under one season. Now, having promoted one youth academy player to the senior squad this season, I'm about to do the same for another. Right wing back Elias Schaefer is already 67 rated at 17 years of age and with potential of up to 94. He's another superstar we could well have within our ranks. He's slightly unusual in the fact that he's a left-footed right wing back, but with 5-star weak foot and skill moves, I think he could be a really interesting addition to the senior squad. And with him having the potential to be something special, I think it's going to be a fierce battle with him and Calabria over the next few years to secure that right back spot. And with all those mammoth transfer deals, it means that before we've even kicked a ball, we've already got ourselves back in the board's good books by completing our financial objective for this season. Our on-field objectives remain as difficult as ever though, as they want us to win the league for the 3rd season running and of course win the Champions League again. And whilst we have made a couple of big signings, it'll be interesting to see how my players react, having lost 2 of our key players this transfer window. However, it's all smiles as we kick off our opening league game of the season against Atalanta. Lorenzo Colombo will make his first senior appearance for the club in goal. Raspadori, of course, will make his debut up front in place of the departed De Ketelaere, but there's only a spot on the bench for Karatashiela, as he'll have to do more to try and force his way into the starting 11 ahead of Rafael Leao. And it was Raspadori who almost got his Milan career off to a flyer inside the opening 8 minutes. Daniel Maldini running down the right-hand side, fed it into him, but he could only find the outside of the left post. 6 minutes later, and Benassi this time had the chance to put us 1-0 up, but his fierce strike from outside the area ended up fizzing past the post and out for a goal kick. Daniel Maldini though, the man for whom I have high hopes this season, opened his and our account for this season on the 19th minute. A mistake from the final defender allowed him to capitalise and lash a wonder strike past the goalkeeper, off the post and into the back of the net to give us a 1-0 lead. And 10 minutes later, Rafael Leao was on hand to add a second. After a well-worked piece of play from inside our own half, we managed to bring the ball forward into a dangerous area, while Maldini was on hand to lay the ball on a plate for Leao, and he could apply the finishing touch to make it 2-0. Just before half-time though, the debutant Colombo proved why I was right to put my faith in him, as he flew across his goal to block a shot from the winger, and 10 minutes into the second half he was at it again. Duvan went steaming into the box one-on-one with Colombo, but he made himself big, covered off the angle, blocked the shot, and the striker couldn't believe it. The substitute Kvaratskhelia had a good chance 10 minutes from the end, but he could only end up firing straight at the goalkeeper. But frustratingly for Colombo, his good work earlier in the game was undone after we gave the ball away cheaply, and a series of poor defending in and around our box allowed Pessina to find space inside of our box and fire a shot past Colombo to drag Atalanta back into the game late on. Our 2 goals in the first half though were enough to help us see out the game and give us the perfect start to season 3. 3 points in the bag and our title defence up and running. However, as we fast forward to the end of November, things have taken a major turn for the worse. In spite of my board rating now being excellent, likely due to those player sales, on the field they've had a catastrophic impact. We are 9th in the Serie A table after 13 games played with only a +1 goal difference, but more importantly, we are a whopping 17 points off Roma, who are in top spot after a sensational start to the season for them. And to make matters worse, we are bottom of our Champions League group, in serious danger of going out of European competition altogether. And when we head over to the squad hub, it's not hard to see that there's definitely some funny business going on. Lorenzo Colombo, our backup striker, is now our top goal scorer with 8 goals. Where on earth is new signing Raspadori? Rafael Leao seems to be the only other man who's holding up this team at the moment with 7 goals. Apart from that though, Benassi is next on the list with only 2 goals to his name. What is going on this season? Raspadori's had an absolute shocker, no goals in 12 games across all competitions, and as for Kvaratskhelia, well, he's only played 3 games this season, with one of them being his substitute appearance in an opening game of this season that I gave him. And now, with morale and confidence down, we head over to the Estadio Metropolitano and try to get a win against an Atletico Madrid team who top our Champions League group. If we do not win this game, it is simple. We are out of the Champions League this season. And with that in mind, we are wasting no time. Hernandez latching onto a ball on the left-hand side and driving up the field, cutting the ball back to Maldini, who turned wonderfully, but then blazed his shot well over the bar. Pobega had a good chance at the half-hour mark that the goalkeeper was equal to. Unfortunately, Colombo was equal to a Madrid chance just 3 minutes later, as he tipped over from a strike from outside the area. Carrasco tried a wicked strike from outside the area only a few minutes later, but once again, Colombo somehow managed to pull off a fingertip save, one that Diego Simeone himself couldn't believe. And it's the goalkeepers who are taking all the plaudits in this first half, as it was Oblak's turn to come to the rescue, blocking a wonderful cross into the box from Salamakers, and secondly stopping a looping header from Maldini to keep the scores level heading into half-time. We had to wait until the 75th minute of the game though, but finally we have lift-off. Kvaratskhelia latching onto a through ball from Pobega, took his time, found his angle and blasted a strike past the goalkeeper to get his first goal in an AC Milan shirt in only his 4th appearance, and what an important goal that could end up being. And ironically, he had the chance to add his second just 10 minutes later, as Koeman delivered a wonderful ball into the box, but he got his diving header all wrong and sent the chance high and wide. And speaking of Koeman, he should have put the game to bed for us in the 90th minute, but decided to fire a strike straight at the goalkeeper. And 3 minutes later, Benazia had a slightly different tact. He went for power, but then ballooned his shot way over the bar instead. Fortunately though, Kvaratskhelia goal was the difference, an incredible substitute appearance that could hopefully kickstart his AC Milan career, kickstart our season, as we get a much needed 3 points. AC Milan 1, Atletico Madrid 0. And whilst that did spearhead our progression back up the table in Serie A into the final Champions League spot, we still, after 33 games, are 20 points behind Roma in first place, in what has been an abysmal way to defend our Serie A title. And speaking of the Champions League, that win against AC Milan was completely and utterly worthless, as we then went ahead and lost the very next game to Lask of all teams, which meant we went crashing out of the Champions League and Europe altogether in the group stage. And if that wasn't enough of a kick in the teeth, the board have decided to add another. From an excellent rating at the start of the campaign to getting a dreaded email midway through April to inform me that I have been relieved of my duties and have been sacked as manager of the club. 2 years of success, back-to-back league wins and a Champions League victory was clearly not enough. My bid to blood youth players into the squad following the sale of my 2 best players was clearly the wrong decision, and I've now suffered the consequences. Fast forward to the end of the season though, and the board's decision to sack me was clearly the wrong one, as they've been left in an even worse position after the final 5 games. Out of the Champions League places, and AC Milan will be playing in the Europa Conference League next season. Lorenzo Colombo, the backup striker, had a fantastic season stepping in for Di Ketelaere with 20 goals to his name in a real breakout season for him. However, with his namesake in goal only keeping 4 clean sheets in 37 appearances, and with only managing to improve his rating to 69, the decision not to replace Mignon with another world-class goalkeeper has really come back to bite me. A sad way to end what has been a prolific career mode with AC Milan, but these are the harsh realities of managing the elite clubs. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you again next time.